the fields. From the ice to the turf, we'll break it down. Discussing every win and every loss in town. We'll talk about the Canucks and the Lions. We are your irrational fans. We are your irrational fans.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 86 of the Hughes Sports Podcast. I am your host, of course, Jake Hughes, alongside the old man. Old man, how the hell are you doing today?
You know what? I am doing absolutely freaking amazing as always, because that's just me. I'm just doing amazing.
Fair. Even though Friday was a bit of a maybe a touchy subject, your weekend was still all right?
What was Friday?
You blocked it out of your memory that bad?
I don't remember Friday. I can barely remember what I ate. But you know what I do know? Guess who's back?
Oh, boy.
It's our freaking mascot, dude.
I really don't think that is our mascot.
The fans voted. The fans get what the fans want.
I don't think the fans voted for anything. I don't think the fans talked about it. I think the only fan that has talked about it is you, because you're the only fan of the toucan.
Everybody's a fan of the toucan.
I don't think so.
Have you not been paying attention?
I pay probably more attention than you do.
What are you looking at? Why do you do that? You always...
Because my second monitor is here. My second monitor is here, so I'm trying to get things set up for the show. I have to look over here.
So we're going to start off on a big note. You notice what I'm wearing?
You're wearing is that your BX jersey? Well, it's fitting because we finally had Canucks in action this past weekend with the Canucks Young Stars Tournament, the development camp out in Penticton at the Penticton Community Event Center. The Canucks ended up going 3 wins, 0 losses.
Insane.
Very. Who cares about the wins and the losses? Especially when you look at the ages of the other teams.
They were like 12.
And the Canucks players were like 22.
It was like Minigay's boys. Lecker Mackey was, I seen a couple highlights, and it was like he was skating circles around people. It was like, who are these? What?
Between Lecker Mackey, which is very different than how I thought you pronounced his name, but it is Lecker Mackey.
Yes. I was right. Say it.
Yeah. You just said it just now. You never stood ground on. When it comes to player names and pronunciations, I am not choosing you to be the leading witness in anything.
Well, just because I had Nacho.
Nacho? Lecker Mackey looked fantastic, but so did EPD, Elias Pettersson, the defenseman.
Yes.
And someone who actually stood out to me I only was able to watch 2 of the games, was Vilmer Ulriksson. Every time he was on the ice, he seemed to be in a competitive position in the right spot, whether it was offense or defense.
Oh, nice. Who is that? Say that name again.
Vilmer Ulriksson.
I just wanted to try to get you to screw the name up.
No, he's a 4th round pick in 2023.
Oh, okay.
Unsigned right now. I think he's playing in Sweden.
So now the question is, the big question. Does Lecker Mackey actually make the team this year?
I think that is very dependent on what happens with the rest of the team.
Yes.
Because if there is a top 6 forward that is movable, it's probably Brock Besser. Because where's Lekkerimäki going to be playing? You don't want him to come in. He's not a fourth or third line player, especially in a Rick Tocchet system. He's a top 6 player.
Did you just say you wanted to trade Besser?
I didn't say I want to trade Besser. I said the most tradable player in our top 6 is Brock Besser.
I don't know who I'm looking at over there. But I expect them to like look it back at me and go, yeah, I agree. He's lost his freaking marbles. We're going to trade away a 40 goal scorer from last season.
I believe he only hit 30.
He scored 40. No, it was, Besser scored 40. No, maybe it was Hughes that scored 40.
No, he got 40. He got 40.
Who did?
Besser.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh.
It's first time he's done it in his career, playing alongside JT Miller. Sell high. If you're going to take a swing at trying to find a right shot top paired defenseman, what's going to get you
get the best in the league then?
I don't think you're going to get. You're not going to get a elite caliber like Fox or McCarr for Besser.
Then you're not trading. Why would you trade him then? He scored 40 goals for us last year. Again, folks, this is why I end up with the toucan.
So if you want Lekkerimäki in the league, in the NHL this year, I think that's the only way you can do it.
Really? You think so?
I do.
I don't think that's ever going to happen in this universe. Did you hear this somewhere, or are you just pulling shit out of your ass again?
No, I've heard it from a couple people who are insiders, who would not be shocked to see Besser's name in the trade market early this year. If the team deems, and I don't know if they do, because Patrick Allvin and Jim Rutherford have had way worse defensive cores than the Canucks have right now and gone on to win Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
But if they deem that they need another top 4 right shot defenseman, that might be what it takes. You might be able to swing a second round pick out of it and a top 4 right shot defenseman.
I mean, I guess.
It's especially if you think you have Lekkerimäki who can come in and fill that spot for Brock right away.
Oh yeah, no, come on. You're going to trade away a 40 goal scorer. I got to stop calling him a 40 goal scorer. He scored 40 goals one season. He could flop this season, right?
He could go back to scoring 20.
I guess it really depends how we start. If we start out as hot as we did last year, are you changing anything?
No, then there's not a change.
Right.
And we also might need to temper expectations with Demko being out. Demko is a huge reason for that hot start.
And when you're looking at it, we have 3 goalies going into training camp that have a total of 10 regular season games under their belt. 10. Not each.
Yeah.
Total games.
Yeah.
Yes, Silas has some playoff games that he was tossed into.
So, some playoff games, just, really important playoff games.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, everything is wackadoodles because that's the Canucks. It wouldn't be the Canucks unless we had wackadoodles to talk about, because we've got 4 guys that went under the knife this offseason.
Well, before we get to that, let's stay on the Demko track, because Patrick Allvin, Jim Rutherford, and Rick Tocchet all did their press availability today.
Yes.
And of course, the first thing everyone wanted to know about was Demko, and the first thing out of Patrick Allvin's mouth is that Demko will speak to the media tomorrow about his availability.
Interesting.
He will not be available. They announced he's not available for day 1.
And I mean, listening to Donnie and Dolly.
Yep.
Is it Donnie and Dolly or Dolly and Donnie?
It's the team, Donnie and Dolly.
Okay. And besides them talking about cookies, if you don't listen to that show, you guys have to listen to the show. If you're a Canuck fan and you're not listening to that show, you're missing out because they talk about some really important stuff, like which is the better cookie. Did you listen to it the other day when they were talking
No, I
about
did.
cookies? Or was that
I didn't. I didn't.
Anyways, where was I going with that before I started talking about cookies?
Listening to Donnie and Dolly.
Talking about Demko. They're talking January.
Well, the thing is that there's Donnie and Dolly, who I trust that they're getting information from people inside the organization.
Oh, 100%.
And you have people like Matt and Blake, Sakaris and Price saying they're hearing only 5 weeks. Like they're hearing only the first month.
So now
and then
you've
got
November, I guess. Yeah, because we're going to start in beginning of October.
Yeah,
regular season.
Regular season starts beginning of October.
Is it beginning or middle?
Beginning.
October 3rd or 6th or something in my head.
I think the 3rd. I think it's like 2nd or 3rd.
So I hope it's sooner than later, but it's all going to come down to, can Seeloffs be that starter that we need him to be?
Yeah. Well, and to me, if you're going to deliver bad news, you wouldn't let the player do it. To me, that's very hopeful that Demko wants to speak to the media. Again, apparently it's his idea to speak to the media, and the team has granted it. To me, that's good news.
I know you don't want to jump ahead to Joshua, Dakota Joshua, but he also spoke to the media.
Yep.
Well, he put a press release out in his name.
That's the Canucks put out a press release. He did not speak to the media.
No.
If Demko was to put out a press release, yes, I'm thinking not till January that he'll be back.
Oh, I see. So you're thinking it's going to be sooner.
Well, he's in Penticton. He's going to speak with the media in Penticton, which means they expect him, or he expects to be ready to go for training camp or second week of preseason.
That would make my week.
And I'm not saying playing, like being ready to play game 1, but on the ice practicing getting up to game speed.
Yeah.
Right. In that, of course, they also announced, we'll talk about it shortly, Dakota Joshua, not available for day 1, Teddy Bluger, Cole McWard, and Demko. So those are the 4 players that won't be at camp day 1.
No, there was 3 others, and then Joshua, and then Demko. There was 3 that went under the knife besides Joshua.
They might have, whoever it might have been might be available for day 1. I'm just talking about the guys who are not available for day 1 of camp tomorrow.
Gotcha. Again, it wouldn't be the Canucks if it wasn't Wackadoodle. And every year, you've heard me call it the Canucks curse over and over and over again. Whenever things start going good, something has to go wrong to screw us around. It's the Canuck curse. Started in 1970, folks. Actually, probably 69 when they did the draft.
The coin toss, as we would call it here.
The coin toss.
That the Canucks won, and then realized that they lost.
Well, it was funny. I was listening to a podcast, and they had a gentleman on who just finished writing a book, just put it out on the Canucks. Yes. And he was saying that it started in 1967 because that was when the Canucks were supposed to come into the draft or into the league in 1967, and something happened. And screwed that up. And I want to grab the book, and I wouldn't mind having that guest. I'm going to go back and try to find out who it was.
Yeah.
And have him on the show, because it was really, he was quite literate, and the knowledge he had was cool. So yeah, I wouldn't mind having him on the show. I got to go back and take a look.
Yeah, take a look at that.
Yeah.
And then we talked about it a little bit, but last night, the Canucks put out a press release. I'm pulling it up right here, right now.
Well, it was more like Dakota put it out. Joshua put it out himself.
Well,
It's his words, because in it he says, "I appreciate you guys
it's-
giving me my privacy."
So yeah, it's a statement from Dakota Joshua is how
Yes.
they put it.
Yeah.
I'll just read the entire statement here. It says, this summer I felt a lump on one of my testicles that the doctors would later diagnose as testicular cancer. This news was obviously scary to hear, but thankfully doctors were able to successfully remove the tumor. The last several weeks have been extremely challenging, and I've been fortunate enough to have the support of my family, friends, teammates, and doctors. Unfortunately, I will not be ready for the start of training camp as I continue to heal from the surgery. Upon returning to play as soon as possible this season, I'm working very hard to rejoin my teammates. Although it was very difficult to face the reality of this specific type of cancer, getting checked by a doctor quickly was the best approach, and I encourage men to get checked regularly for testicular cancer. As I continue with my recovery, I thank everyone in advance for respecting my privacy concerning this matter. The team will provide updates as appropriate. In the meantime, I thank everyone for their support and understanding.
Terrifying. I read it. My heart skipped a couple beats. Probably the worst news a young man can hear in the prime of his career. And let's put hockey aside. In the prime of his life, and to be told, "Oh, you have cancer," it's got to be devastating.
I mean, he's 28 years old.
Yeah, exactly. So, best wishes to him. Hockey aside, I hope he makes a full recovery. As a pure Canuck fan, I'm sure hoping he makes it back this season.
Yeah. Well,
it sounds like he will.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like the Patrick Alvine classified him as week to week.
Yeah.
So basically, checking in a couple weeks and he'll be close. I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to make it back for opening night or the week after. From how people are talking is that he's that close to being ready. Just obviously having to undergo surgery and treatment. It's not an easy hill to climb.
Yeah.
Something I didn't put on our rundown that I totally forgot about until we started talking is that they announced that Alexander Edler, the bane of your existence, the defenseman you hated
ever,
the defenseman you hated to love and love to hate, will sign a one-day contract with the organization, with the Canucks, to retire October 11th against Philly. October 11th?
Yeah, it was October 11th. Good on him. He was a big part of that team. And was it Cello or Edler? Got the puck in the
that was Cello.
That was Cello. Okay. Edler again, the pylon.
Two defensemen that you absolutely hated to love.
It was, yes, and I confuse them all the time. Edler, I called a pylon probably more times than I've called any other player a pylon, but he was a big part of that team, and it's good to see him retire. I mean, no, they're not going to retire his number or anything like that. And I've seen fans talking about how they should retire his jersey number and blah, blah, blah. It happens every time. But good on him.
Should he go up into the Ring of Honor, though? So that's the thing, is the Canucks kind of have that two levels of thing where it's the Ring of Honor and then your jersey retirement.
Should that whole team go on the Ring of Honor?
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
What year was that?
2011.
Yeah, sorry. I went blank. Does that whole team go on the Ring of Honor and just call it the 2011 so you're not putting everybody's name?
But I think I don't think you would put everyone's name on that lead. You're not going to put Maxim Lapierre up in the Ring of Honor. He was a great part of that run, but he was only a short part on that team and didn't stay any longer.
Wasn't he the guy that bit?
Was it him or was it Burroughs?
I think it was Lapierre that did the biting.
I think Lap bit as well.
Yeah.
But I don't. Yeah, in my brain, they're very confusable in my brain because they're little pests.
Yes, but yeah, I mean, Ring of Honor, Edler. No, where do you draw that line, though? Right? I mean, was he a good player?
One of the best defensemen in Canucks history until Quinn Hughes came along. You want me to pull up stats?
Oh, I got a headache, and it's only 20 minutes in, folks. Hey, Jake. I said this last week. Do I have to say it every week to you to remind you? I should remind you before we go on the air. Don't take the gummies before we go.
Who's got more points?
Well, he does, of course, because he's played longer. That's like
no. In all of Canucks history, who's the defenseman that has the most points?
He does.
Who's played the most games?
He has.
Yeah.
That's why he has the most points.
What?
Because he's played the most games.
Because he was able to stick around for so long?
Because he stood in one spot and didn't move. He was like an orange cone. He just stood there. My God. Put him in the Ring of Honor. Goodness me. But yes, I'm glad they're retiring him as a Canuck. He deserves that.
Most goals, most
assists. If we go to that game, if we somehow manage to go to that game, can we start a chant saying "Pylon"?
No, not at all.
Oh, Jaco, what are we doing?
How many face-offs do you think Alexander Edler has won? Sorry, this is a random strat. I'm just looking through the stats. The fact that this is even a stat, he has 8 face-off wins.
That's it.
Why is he taking face-off?
8 out of how many?
19. Why
did he got wiped out back then? And it was like, you're the only guy left.
And there go.
Go in there. I know you're just going to stand there like a pylon, but there's someone there.
God damn, Adler. Training camp for the Canucks starts tomorrow. Main camp starts tomorrow. And the first preseason game is only 6 days away. Next time we are on the air, there will have been proper Vancouver Canucks hockey being played. We'll have it. Cross our fingers. We'll actually have a proper update on Demko. I promised that last week, but hey, who knows?
I'm overly excited for this season, obviously, because of last season. But let's go. Let's go.
Who do you think plays with Elias Pettersson and Jake DeBrusk on the top line?
I think where does Lekkermecki play?
I believe he is a winger. I have him up.
I wouldn't be surprised if they put him in the top 6 in preseason.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him up there in preseason.
Right? Yes.
If it clicks, great.
If not, then I mean we still have to fill a roster in Abbotsford.
Yeah.
Right? The baby Canucks still need a roster, right? So if he's not ready, because from a lot of the insiders that were at the young stars or whatever you call it, he still has to grow into his body. He still looks like a Bambi out there sometimes.
Well, and he's only 19.
Or as we like to say, that he looks like Trent Lowe doing the dance. And I know you're listening, Trent.
I would not be shocked to see that combination at training camp for a little bit, but I also wouldn't be shocked to see JT Miller, Brock Besser, and Jake DeBrusk, and have Garland. See, it really screws up with Dakota Joshua being out.
Well, yeah, that's a big loss.
It's a huge loss because to me, you want to get Petey going right away.
Yes,
you put him with Garland and Joshua, And say, especially if you have training camp to figure it out, but now you don't have training camp with Joshua out.
Well, that's the problem, right?
So maybe you put Garland up there with DeBrusque. So you do Garland, DeBrusque, and Petey on your top line, and then you have your JT Miller, Brock Besser, and Pia Suter or Denton Heinen on the second line. It'll be interesting to see either way.
It's going to be
I'm excited.
It's a good position to be in, let's face it, where you have that many choices. My biggest worry is a defenseman who can move the puck out of the D zone, effectively, or carry the puck out of the D zone. I guess would be more the way I'm talking about. Besides Hughes, of course, and goal.
Again, if it's only
6 are just going to fall together.
I think really all the forward lines are going to come together. Yes. I have no issues with that. I know, like, the players they got, they have a couple pieces to figure out where they fit, but that's a puzzle that we know Rick Tocchet's a puzzle guy.
Yes.
That's a puzzle that's probably already gotten 5 different completed versions. Until you see it on the ice, you can't say for certain what's going to work.
Exactly.
But I have faith in Shilovs to get through October. If it takes Demko that long, getting past October, that's where things I think are good. Might fall off the wheel. The wheels might fall off the wagon there.
Well, I mean, I just want to fast forward the damn clock and let's get at her. I want to see how this falls out.
I'm just looking through here because there's no back-to-backs in October.
None.
Meaning Shilovs has a day off or 2 in between every single game.
Wow.
Right? And that's where it's like, if you can get into November, you don't have a back-to-back until... Oh, you don't have a back-to-back until December. Middle of December is your first back-to-back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's huge.
That is huge. Like, that's really big.
It's, even if Demko's playing or if Demko's not playing, you have pieces there that can get you through. With I thought Tolopilo looked really good at Young Stars as well, but it'll be interesting to see what the result is of Demko. Looking way ahead in time, but we should have answers next week.
Yeah. Should be fun.
Should be.
Gonna be fun.
Anything else?
I just want it to happen.
Let's
go.
Also, October 9th is the first game.
Yes, I saw that. Yes.
The home opener against the Flames on October 9th.
Yes.
Anything else Canucks related you want to touch on before we hear from our sponsor of today's show?
Go Canucks, go.
All right.
Canucks, go.
Other than that, we have the pleasure of hearing from our friend Kelster Mania.
All the way from Iceland, Reykjavik.
He's in Reykjavik.
Reykjavik, Iceland.
Well, take it away here, Kelly.
Old friendly neighborhood sports handicapper, the Kelster Mania, coming to you from a great little restaurant and bar in Reykjavik, Iceland this week. Doing a little due diligence trip on the Icelandic Poker Championships coming up in November. Going to send you guys some information through these Hughes Sports Podcast Network on this, but I'm outside the Champagne train, and we have got some great picks coming up for you this weekend. Couple of games. Number 1, here's a pick in college football that you're going to be a little bit surprised about, but I'm taking an 0-3 Florida State against a 3-0 Cal. Now, Florida State is not an 0-3 team, and they are a much better team than Cal. I'm surprised the way this line is, so we are going to lay the 2.5 points with Florida State. It is going to be a great play, great pick on Saturday. Then coming up on Sunday, we've got a game, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, here's the thing. The Cowboys are coming off an absolutely embarrassing, brutal loss, and they are going to be ready for this Baltimore opponent. You're getting 1.5 points. I like it on the money line. Watch them to come back super, super strong. This is going to be a great play all day Sunday. Watch some sports. If you want the best best picks, the best plays, go to kelstermania.com. I'm telling you right now, we have a service that gives you some of the best plays that are out there, and we're absolutely on fire in NFL and in college football, as well as baseball right now. One of our sports handicappers, he is handicapping the umpire rotation, which gives you some great angles around the guys that have a smaller strike zone. What we do is we find that they have more balls, more walks, more runners in play, skews to the over. So we've been playing a lot of those picks these days. And coming up, we've got 17, 18 games left in the season. So lots of excitement going on. So anyways, I want you guys to win and get the best value. So I'd like you to go to kelstermania.com and click the banner ad for CoolBet. And I'm going to get you the biggest sports deposit bonus in the business and the best lines, the best plays. Great platform. That's what we do here is we teach you how to bet smarter, risk mitigation strategies, money management strategies, helping you bust your bookie. My name is the Kelster Mania. What you gonna do, kids, when the mania runs wild over you?
Thank you so much to Kelster Mania. Check his website out at kelstermania.ca.
And if you're a poker player and you fancy yourself to go on a trip to play poker, Cool Bets is the place to go. They're doing some cool promos for that Icelandic poker tournament or poker classic or poker championship. I'm not sure what they're calling it.
I believe it's Poker Championship.
Poker Championship. So head over to Cool Bets. Go through kelstermania.com.
And then we get to jump into the week that was in the CFL.
Was there football games this weekend?
There was football games this weekend. I know
No,
both
I
of
don't
us
think
were.
it was.
I know both of us were very busy this weekend.
There was no
However,
football.
your Friday, I know for a fact your Friday allowed you to watch the Toronto Argonauts take on the BC Lions at home, in which the Lions thought they had a 2-week bye because they lost by a score of 33-17. And all I can say is thank God they have a week to figure shit out.
My goodness. And full disclosure, I turned this game off after the third quarter because it was a late game out here in Alberta, and I had to get up and work in the morning, and I wasn't going to put up with getting myself worked up to a frenzy over that, whatever that was, because that was probably the worst performance of the season for the I was going to say the Canucks, for the Lions. Top to bottom.
I think it was on par with the first time they lost to the Argos.
They just seemed like they don't want to play them. It's insanity. I've never seen anything like it. I don't think I've cursed and swore as much as I did at the TV during that game. Yeah.
No, I think that's a performance you scrub from the memory. You do. The only thing I have to question is pulling Rourke at halftime.
One of the most bizarre moves, I thought, was Rourke playing the best he's played? Obviously not.
But when you're given less than 2 seconds per throw, you're not going to be able to throw the ball. No matter you're Vernon Adams, you're Nathan Rourke, you're Tom Brady.
The right side of that line was non-existent. If I'm Rourke, I'm freaking grabbing my offensive line and I'm having a chat with him, because a quarterback can't be hit that many times. Like, come on.
No.
It was, what was there? Like 6 sacks during that game? I think there was 5 by the time I went to bed.
And I
it
think
was
they got
asinine.
more.
Huh?
And I think they got more.
Yeah, it was asinine. It was, and it started right from the start with a coach's challenge that I just shook my head at. It was one of those, they challenged a play. I think it was the second play of the game, or maybe I think it was the second play of the game. That just made no sense to challenge at that time. And of course, they lost the challenge. So now you're out of challenges. And from there, it went downhill. To be honest, it was just a miserable, horrible performance. We got to pick it up. We're better than that. We've proved we're better than that. Now the question is, now you've created a quarterback controversy that you shouldn't have had. Do you start Adams?
I mean, the nice thing is you have a week to figure it out. I did notice there was another injury to our O-line. One of the big men went down. So, like, if you don't have time for the O-line, Standback needs to be going.
Yeah.
Right? And because that's the best way to get your quarterback time is to be able to run play actions.
And
if you're not getting the time because he wasn't able to run.
No.
Because the problem is you still need run blocking from your O-line, and they weren't even able to do that.
No, I think they might have gone out drinking the night before. I'm not sure.
I don't know what they did. Whatever it is, they better not do it ever again, because that was embarrassing to watch.
Oh, it was horrible. It was hard to watch. Hollins, have we heard an update on Hollins at all?
I haven't.
I haven't seen a player bounce off a turf the way he came down on his shoulder. And I literally grimaced when it happened. And was yelling at the TV at the time because TSN had their sideline reporter talking during that whole play, which just was weird to me. But anyways, they were more interested in that whole game about the honoring the 2000 Lions team than talking about what was actually happening on the field. It was pretty bizarre. But anyways, Hollins went down. He went up to catch the ball and he came down and he landed right on his shoulder and literally bounced off the turf. Ugly, ugly, ugly.
Yeah, I was just looking there. There's no updates on Hollins. I think because it's the bye week, the Lions don't have to submit anything until like Friday or Saturday.
Yeah,
about practicing and everything, because they're limited to what they can do.
And I mean, it looked like either a shoulder separation or broken collarbone. We'll wait and see, because it didn't look good. It didn't look good. Losing Hollins at this point could be a big blow to the Lions.
But he was out at the beginning of the season, and we even commented that it took him 3-4 weeks to find that rhythm again.
Yes.
So maybe Barry Hill and McInnes and everyone step up again.
It would be nice. It would be nice.
Jumping to the first of a doubleheader on Saturday, because there was only 3 games this week. There was 3 buys this week in the CFL, which is really weird. I don't like that they do that, but it is what it is. The Red Blacks take on the Ticats and lose by a score of 37-21.
Ottawa, what are you doing? You had one job. Keep the old man streak going. The Lions blew it. Ottawa blew it. Hamilton came out on fire and earned this one. And I just watched the highlights because I was working. And they earned it. They really, honestly earned it. And good on them. Bo looked Bo-ish.
I was just going to that was going to be my only comment to add from what you had is Bo looked like Bo of old, where he was slinging the ball, but he was also making those smart short passes.
Yes.
Right? Like we talked about it a couple weeks ago where, holy crap, Bo looks like he's slinging the ball again, but those short passes were way off. This week, it looks like he finally put the pieces together.
And he ran. He ran. I don't know how many. I think I saw him get 2 first downs on highlights. So good on him. And it's good for the league. The East is looking really, really strong. The West, not so much, but the East is looking fabulous.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking up.
Jake is looking up stats again, folks.
Nope. I do not have any rushing stats for Bo Levi Mitchell.
I could have sworn I saw him running for one. Yeah. Anyway, good game. It looked like a fun game to watch.
Yeah.
Great turnout in Hamilton.
Was it a great turnout?
Yeah, it was. They had a decent crowd.
Unfortunately, I was. This is now my busy season for football, so these weekend games are a pain for me to be able to try to find after they're done. So
Especially daytime games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have. If you told me that, if you put on your future prediction hat and told me this was the score, I would have laughed you out of the. I would have bullied you incessantly, because the Montreal Alouettes and the Stampeders finish in a 19-all tie. Second tie of the season. And I put it simply in our caption here. Did the Owls simply overlook the Stampeders?
Now, I mean, this is the third week in a row the Owls have not had a win.
Yep.
Right? 2 losses and a tie. Are the wheels falling off in Montreal? Right?
Is it the we've clinched, we don't need to keep trying?
And you know what? They haven't. All they've clinched is a playoff spot. They haven't clinched any spot yet. But as a pro player, when you've clinched, you're going to let off the gas a little bit because you don't want to get injured. Yeah. It's just that simple. And in football, that's not a good thing. Thing about this game is the Stamps gave this tie to the Owls. They were literally within a play or two of kicking a field goal to win this game. And they took 30 yards worth of stupid ass penalties. And I've seen Stamp fans whining all week.
More objectionable conducts?
Well, no. One was a face mask, and it was an obvious face mask. And the other one was the unsportsmanlike conduct for the pushing right after the play. Like, just stupid.
I'm assuming right in front of the ref, too?
Stupid, undisciplined penalties. And it was funny because I had picked the L, so I was kind of cheering for the L's. But obviously, living in Calgary and having season tickets for as long as I did, Stamps have been my second team for many years. And to see what they've become is embarrassing, to be honest. It's just, I don't know where it fell off the wheels. I don't know why, but I guess this is what happens when you give away all your players.
Well, there's normal ebbs and flows of competitiveness in the CFL.
Yes.
But the problem is that, Calgary was at the top for so long and refused to give up on Bo.
Yes.
If they had given up on Bo 2 years prior, when they should have.
Yes.
Realized Jake Meyer's not the guy 2 years ago and not this year.
Yeah.
That team looks very different because they probably would have rebuilt.
They have not missed the playoffs since 2005.
Yeah, 19 years.
Right? They're a damn good chance they're going to miss the playoffs this year.
I think it's more than likely that they're not making the playoffs this year.
But it just goes to show there's teams in the CFL willing to pay the players money to play the game. Stamps aren't one of them.
Yep.
And it's a fact. So you look at the players that have left the Stamps, they've gone on to make more money because the Stamps ownership refuses to put money into this team. It's simple. It's not a secret. Look at the Flames. Same thing.
Something I want to talk about during the Argos game that I totally forgot about now that you brought up ownership is that Rogers Communications has bought out Bell for the full entire majority ownership of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, which now owns the Toronto Raptors, the Blue Jays, the Marlies, TFC, like Toronto Football Club, and the Argos.
Oh, really?
With Bell no longer having a stake in the games and the TV media rights deal coming up next year?
I think you're right.
Could this be a sign that the CFL is going to be shopping their rights around, or Bell's not interested in those rights? Bell's bleeding. Bell as an organization is bleeding money. They've restructured their entire company.
Yes.
And are now just took a $4.7 billion payout
Wow.
of MLSE.
That's huge. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the we're way off topic, but what happens to the TV rights with the CFL. When you're looking at a lot of the other leagues, including baseball, they're putting games onto Prime. They're putting games onto Netflix. Canucks games will be on Prime this year. I think there's 3 or 4 games this season that will be on Prime. And is that is that the way of the future for sports?
Well, and not just that, but if you look outside of just traditional sports, we're huge fans of wrestling. WWE just signed a deal for all of Raw.
Yes.
And international, all of WWE is going to be on Netflix.
It's insane.
Like, and there's talk now where, like with wrestling, with WWE, there's no need to take a commercial break at a certain time. WWE can say, no, we're not taking a commercial break for an hour.
Well, there is no commercial breaks on Netflix.
There will be commercial breaks on Netflix because there's a plan that have ads.
Oh, right. Yes.
So,
but if you're like us and pay for the no ads,
no one knows yet.
Interesting.
Right? Part of the WB AEW negotiations, there's a lot of rumors about Max being involved. I mean, the NBA just signed an exclusive contract that took TNT Sports out of the equation, and it's all going on to Amazon.
Right.
The problem is there any interest in a Canadian Football League rights?
Well, because, I mean, you're looking at huge viewership in Canada.
Yeah.
Right? You really are. You're getting, on a given weekend, you're getting over 1 million people tuning in to watch.
Yep.
Right? 1 million unique viewers.
Yeah.
So there might be only 600 viewers watching game 1, but there's also 500 watching game 2. Now, some of those are like me, and I'll watch all 4.
Yep.
So, but unique viewers, there's over 1 million CFL fans watching the game on TV on any given weekend. So, I mean, that's not peanuts.
No. And like I look at a Netflix who's clearly wanting to go in that live sports, picking up boxing, yes. WWE. Could this be a test to the NFL? Say, hey, look at our production value. Look what we did for the CFL, right? You know what I mean? It's one of those things that just proves, hey, Netflix can do this, and we got all the viewers.
And will that open up the U.S. market for the Canadian League with Netflix or Prime, where people your age and younger? It's funny that I say that now, that your age and younger, more so younger, who don't have cable anymore and are just using streaming services like Netflix or Prime.
Yep.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. And I know we've strayed really far from the week in the CFL, but lots of moving pieces in the sports world when it comes to TV rights.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
So something that I'm really interested in, I hope that it actually gets covered, and it's not just like there's some news behind it. It's not just an announcement that they've re-signed with TSN. And
we will keep on it, folks. Being the investigative reporters that we are.
I do not investigate. I just report.
Okay. I do the investigation, folks.
But you know what you do?
We haven't finished there was only 3 games.
There's only 3 games.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot quicker when there's only 3 games.
Well, there's 1 game less.
Yeah, it's like 25% less. But you know what you do?
What do I do?
You do. You make do predictions.
It's time for the old man predictions. How well did he do? Do-do-da. Do-dee-do.
That's right, everyone. It's time for the old man predictions. How well did he do? Do-dee-da. Do-dee-do. And the old man, you can tell by his reaction if you're watching, he did not do well as he went a disastrous 0-2-1.
I am going to do some research this week, just so the my fans, because I have them. Which reminds me, where's Charlie? We haven't heard from Charlie the whole game. Is chat not working?
It definitely is. I think it is working. We haven't seen many chats come through, but
No. If you're listening and you can you just pop a message into chats? And if you know Charlie, can you do a welfare check on him? He's here every week. And he's old like me, so we gotta keep tabs on our peoples.
it's true.
But anyways, I'm gonna do some research and I'm gonna check how many games have been played in the CFL this year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that number's off.
I think your numbers are off.
I think it's off by about 5 or 6.
I
Doing
think you're
quick
off
math.
by 9.
No, I think I'm off by 6.
Well, because I have 39 points on.
Yeah, they give everyone the win for your 2 losses,
Right. So take off 2, so that leaves 37.
and you probably changed your pick right before one of the games.
Thinking.
Trust me.
You screwed me.
Trust
out of
me.
7 wins.
Trust me, there are 6 games missing.
Did you check?
I checked earlier today. There
So
are
it's
6
really
games missing.
36, 21, and 2, folks. 30. Fix it.
I'm not fixing it right now because I don't know that you won those games.
I can guarantee you I won those games.
No, because we know for a fact there have been I know for a fact of at least twice that you said, I know on the show I picked this, but we changed it. So we're sticking with it's 30, 21, and 2. You didn't catch it at the time. Sucks to be you. We know you're 3 perfect weeks and 12 imperfect weeks.
I think Jake's cheating, but that's okay.
And we're back to what I would consider the classic CFL schedule of a doubleheader on Friday night, a doubleheader Saturday.
Love it.
And the first game on Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, we have Hamilton taking on Toronto. In Toronto, I believe.
Yes.
Who are you taking?
Toronto.
I assumed that, but I always had to double check. I mean, Hamilton has won the last 2 games that they've played.
They have. But I think Toronto's going to get it back together. Their QB needs to prove something. I don't understand. Big whiner. So, yeah, I'm going to say Toronto.
Sorry, something we didn't remind me after we get through this. Something that I want to talk about. The second game on Friday, Saskatchewan taking on Calgary in Calgary.
The hopeless Stamps are going to go down again. I think the Riders correct their ship, and I think it's the Riders by 7.
The Riders by 7.
Yeah.
And then we have midday Saturday game that is broadcast on CTV or CFL Plus or TSN Plus, but only on CTV. We have the Montreal Alouettes and the Ottawa Redblacks.
I am taking the Montreal Alouettes.
I think this might be the upset of the week.
And you know what? I was just going to say this one could be the upset of the week. But I got to stick with Cody. Death, taxes, and Fajardo winning.
And then we have the nightcap on Saturday. It looks like they put like an hour gap in between the games. And I hope that hour gap is filled with CFL pregame.
It better be.
But you have the Winnipeg Blue Bombers taking on the Edmonton Elk at 4 p.m. Pacific. And that one is the Toyn Koss game of the week.
It really is. I went back and forth, and I couldn't decide. I was like, okay, well, I got it. I'm going to go this way. I'm sitting here and I've got the Elks winning. according to Pick'em right now. And I might add by 2 points only.
I could see this being a very close game.
Yeah. I'm going to leave it with the Elks. I think BLT is going to come out and do some bacon, lettuce, and tomato stuff. And he's going to make the Bombers pay.
Fair. So then we have the old man picks for week 16 is Toronto Argonauts, Saskatchewan Roughriders, Montreal Alouettes, and the Edmonton Elks.
Did you have it right before? Like you usually write those down.
I had everything but Edmonton. I picked Winnipeg over Edmonton for your picks.
There you go.
The one thing I didn't get to talk about that I wanted to in the Lions-Argos game, because it wasn't in the front of my brain and I didn't put it on one of my tabs, is did you see the Lions players coming off the bus for a pregame?
No.
They had shirts that were protesting or that were sharing the message. I can't think of the exact wording of it right now, but the see something, say something. It's
really?
regarding sexual abuse.
Oh, I liked it.
See something, say. It was just a plain orange shirt like I'm wearing that just said "See something, say something."
I love it.
And they were.
Well, I mean, let's not forget, Nathan was probably the only player that actually came out and said
because
that
he was
quarterback in Toronto is a piece of shit.
and,
He didn't use those words,
but he's the only one who technically could
because he wasn't employed.
Because he wasn't part of the Players Association.
Yes.
Right?
So good on him. And that piece of shit. Yeah, he's just a piece of poop.
Yep. Anything else you want to talk about regarding the CFL? Anything sports related? Anything Hughes Sports related?
Yeah, there was.
You had that look that you had something,
and now
it's gone
just gone
completely from your brain.
Totally gone. So no, I'll think of it at 4:00 this morning when I wake up.
Why are you waking up at 4:00 in the morning?
I don't know, but the last few nights it's 4:00 in the morning. Wake up,
That's
look at my
gross.
clock, go back to sleep.
That is gross.
Yeah, it is.
The one last thing I want to talk about is the fact that NHL 25 is coming out very soon. You can pre-order it. You can get a bunch of pre-order bonuses if you order the deluxe edition. You get up to 7 days of early access, a whole bunch of extra points, everything like that. The reason I bring that up is I am working very hard to get someone to come on the show to talk about NHL 25.
That is very cool. And as far as sponsors go, let's talk about that because we got a few minutes.
I was going to lead that into this. Also, keep your eyes on our social media in the coming weeks regarding not the sponsor that you're thinking of, but actually something to do with EA Sports and the Hughes Sports channel.
Nice. And we have other sponsors coming up shortly by the looks of it. We won't go into it yet, but there's going to be new sponsors. And I know a lot of people watch this or listen to it afterwards that might own a small business. And they're like, how can I get my name out there very inexpensively? Reach out. We're cheap.
Yep.
We're cheap. You want to get your audience, your name in front of, I don't know, maybe 1,000 people a week. We're the guys. We're growing. We're moving. We're shaking. We're getting some big time guests. And this podcast, I mean, it started off, Jake and I have been playing around with podcasts for many, many years. It goes back to when we first were going to do a wrestling podcast, wasn't it?
We did do a wrestling podcast for about a
3
year.
weeks? No, we didn't do it. Did we do a whole year?
We did almost a full year. Yes, we did.
Did we really?
Yeah. Because there's when I think it was like 40 odd weeks.
See, Jake used to be cool, and then he found a girl, and now he just has no time for his old man anymore.
Yeah, okay.
Guys, if you want, there's where you need to send us an email. Right there, HughesSportsPod@gmail.com. Or message Jake, or message me, the old man. I'm on Twitter.
Or
on
just
Facebook.
message us on X or Twitter, or whatever it is you want to call it, at
Yes.
HSP_pod, because we both have access to the account. One of us will get back to you as soon as we possibly can.
And we've had a bunch of people, or a few people, reach out to us with guest ideas. If you have guest ideas, someone you want to come on the show, do you know what you can do? You can go on X and you can tag them and us and let us take it from there. That's a great idea. That just came to me in a blur. Isn't that cool?
That is a great idea, because then it gets them aware of what we're talking about, what we're doing, and also puts it on the map that we should have them on as a guest.
Yes.
But if that's everything,
that's it. That's all.
You can follow us at HSP_pod on X, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Leave us a 5-star review on all podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate you. Hit that like button, leave a comment. Tell us a guest that you would love to see on the show, whether realistic or not. We'll try to make it happen, because why not? Again, if you are a small business and want to get your, or any size business really, and you want to get your product in front of a large dedicated or a small dedicated audience and loyal audience, message us, email us at hughesportspod@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you and have a discussion. Until next week, have yourselves a beautiful